I would like to make a demo about writing some if conditions and mainly focusing on the indentation. Looking to your keyboard, you will typically have a tab button on the left side, and you also have a space button. So these are two things, both of them generate in programming what we call a white space. So there are three things mainly here. Tab and spaces when it comes to coding, we discussed that before. If you'd like to print a space, you just print it this way. If you'd like to print a tab, you write \t, which is, as I said before, by default in every 8 spaces, which isn't something that's very important to know. The second thing is the tab and spaces in normal editors, so it's also good to see them. So let's see, when we come here to an editor, let's click spaces. So space 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are all spaces. Let's put an X here for now. If I started to press the go back step, it just go step by step here. Now let's go next line. Let's click a tab. You see a single tab, jump it exactly 8 steps. Another single tab, jump it exactly 8 steps. Another 8 tab, jump it exactly 8 steps, and so on. If you try to go back, you notice it jumps one big block. So this is the main difference in printing between a single step tab, which is like big jump of 8 spaces, and the normal spaces here. So this is the first thing to know about the printing in code and printing comes in editor. Now when it comes to the recent versions of PyCharm, you will notice the following. So let's first go to the PyCharm here in this code. Let's click tab. The first thing you notice, it jumped four spaces only, and this is configured. And you will let's see the second observation. Try to get back one step. It doesn't jump a space. It jumps a space. It doesn't jump a tab. So two observations here. Actually, the tab in PyCharm will be converted automatically to spaces. So even when you click the tab button in PyCharm, it's going to be a space, 4 spaces, not a tab. The second thing is the tabs here are 4 spaces exactly. You will see a lot of recent code in Python that is 2 spaces indentation per block. So it's like the tab is configured to jump 2 spaces only. And the reason behind that, guys are trying to allow to write more characters per line. It's a bit standard to write a maximum of 18 character per line, because it allows better visibility to your code when looking to it. You don't have to scroll left and right to see what is written in the code. So this is mainly about the tabs and spaces in PyCharm. By default, they are only spaces. You will notice also that some of the older codes have tabs, and when you start to mix the tabs with the spaces, you might face indentation errors. So 2 advices here. The first, stick to spaces. It is more common between people. The second, use tabs only if you are using an older code of Python that is based on tabs and you have to follow it. For now, let's write also a few lines of code. Let's say we have x1 here. Then I say if x equal, for example, x equal 1 colon. Now when you click enter, you will notice that PyCharm by default created an indentation for you, because you have to write code here, right? Now if you try to do something like that here, for example, you will notice that there will be some complaining in your code, because your code now isn't well indented. So you see, complain. So make sure that even if you just use PyCharm in a normal way, everything is going to be very normal. Here is another block, for example, true. Then again, maybe h equal 1. Sorry. If you would like to go back, you can either use the shift tab, which is going to jump with you 1 block to back, or you can just click normal spaces here. Yeah. Yeah, that's all mainly. Nothing more about tabs here. Just be consistent in terms of the number of spaces. Yeah, maybe also the second thing to observe here, what we call the guides. You see here, you see this line here in by charm, this vertical line or a guide. It tells you what, like, at any point of time you can figure out what is the current level of this tab. It's just matter of nice visualization for you. There is also what we call a collapse. You see here this if condition, I can click this way, it's all collapsed, so it's collapsing a relevant block of indentation together, or here just collapsing that guy, or here just collapsing that guy, and so on. In terms of the menus, one of the relevant menus that show the guides, the vertical lines, you can bring it from file, setting, editor, appearance, show point. So let's try to go to that. Let's go file, settings, editor, general, appearance. You will typically find this show indent guides. If it isn't marked, it's better to mark it. Yeah, to indent a block, let's decide that we would like to make some indentation block. Let's say I have this whole block and I would like to shift it a complete block. You can write tab here, it's going to shift it, or shift tab is going to return it. If you are working in some remote machine sessions, like in future, the tab button might not be activated, so you might have to come here and say indent selection or indent line or selection. So this is also another thing to know. The last thing to know about is there is a menu for tabs and white spaces and their relationships. You can get it by two ways. The first one is to go to the code style Python menu, so we can do that here by ourselves, like file, setting, not editor, sorry, in editor, but code style Python, and then you find here some information. Do you really want to use tab character? How many spaces per tab, and so on. Typically also leave them for details for defaults for now. The third important thing is Control Shift A. Control Shift A generate for you this very nice tool to search features. Like, let's say you would like to know about some feature in which menu. You can come here and say, let's say spaces. Then it say, oh, spaces here. You double click it, it opens this directly for you. So Control Shift A bring for you this nice menu to search directly in it. It's a very nice feature in PyCharm. That's all.